Guys, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sick, Scared, and Stupid. I'm your host, Jake Thomas, and today I've got a really great guest, a very well-known personality in the world of health, wellness, and overall mentality and vitality. He's also a good friend of mine, coming all the way from the dark continent of South Africa. I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro about him just because he's got some really cool things that I can tell about and brag on him with. But before I get started, this guy is someone that I look up to, someone that I have looked up to for quite a while, as a mentor, as a friend, as a brother in many ways. So it's really a privilege for me to have him here today and to talk with y'all because he's got a lot of radical candor for things in the same way that I do. So if you want to learn about how to take care of your mind, how to take care of your body, and someone who's been doing it for decades, more than I've been alive, to be honest, not to age him, because when you look at him, you'll think he's younger than I am. But I'll give you a little bit of some cliff notes on him. But he's originally from South Africa, came out of the South African military, and has been training special forces soldiers there in South Africa, as well as professional athletes in the United States, among many of which have been NFL football players, some NBA basketball players, and a plethora of models beyond. I don't know if the list I can even give you as much of who's trained more models in the world than I know, but has established many different types of streaming and otherwise brick and mortar based fitness spaces and concepts. One of the most famous to be known as Switch Playground, which is where we actually met in New York City. But he's got more than 30,000 clients worldwide, 42 plus brands that he's worked with, over 100 different consultations that he's put together, and different streaming video and product services offered around the world, still going to this day. But now back in his home continent of South Africa, even with the Oscar De La Hoyas and the Charles Barkleys and the Jamal Lewises that he's trained and made better, stronger, and healthier. Today, I'm so happy to have him here with us, my friend, Steve Uria. What's
Wow,
up,
that
Steve?
sounds impressive. I'd like to meet this guy with those accolades. Appreciate you, brother. It's a pleasure to be here, and always cool to chat. So for me, yeah, it's cool when you say all those things because it brings back a lot of memories of shit that we've gone down through and done over the years. And for me, it's like just been my journey. It's like it sounds so like, wow, this is so impressive, but it's just day at a time, doing what you love, and then when you put it all together, when you look back at, I wouldn't say legacy, but your footprint, and you say, wow, that's pretty cool, the shit that we've achieved or done, and the lives we've changed for the better. That was my mission in life, is always to see how many lives I can change for the better and impact in a positive way, and share knowledge with. So to sit down with you and actually have an official podcast type conversation, so awesome, so that we can capture the pearls, in the conversation. So thanks for having me. It's awesome, brother.
Yeah, man. And congrats to you and Robin. You just said what, like 25 years or something like that
No,
too?
28. Yeah,
28 years.
28.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Congrats.
yeah,
Congrats.
28. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a big part of that. They say behind every strong, I think, human is a partner that's equally strong or strong enough to hold them as a pillar. And I definitely wouldn't be who I am without her support and her being there, and her motivation and drive. Those moments you actually feel like, you lose that little bit of like fire, and someone just refires it up and resparks
Mm.
it for you. So yeah, I give her all the credit, I do. I mean, she's been phenomenal. So thanks for acknowledging that. That's so cool.
That's awesome, man. 28. 30's right around the corner, dude.
Yeah, which is,
That's beautiful.
again, it's like a huge milestone, but it's again just living each day and living together. And obviously, when we were together, she was supporting me from a distance when I was building the Switch playground in New York City, and she hung tough. As you said earlier, a lot of models training, and it takes a strong woman to put up with that. It takes a certain character, and she's been awesome. I can again attribute everything to her and the way she handled me through it all. So uh, I'm grateful deeply.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And to your personal journey, like starting out, you were into sports, you were already an active guy. Obviously, coming from the background that you did, it was almost a default move to have to be invested in your body and in your mind. But what really, when did you see it as like an advantage, or when did you see it as a need, a calling, as opposed to like, it's a hobby, it's something we do, it's part of the job because I'm around
Mm,
it. And then when did it
yeah.
become something like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and like maybe I should lean into it a little bit more?
I think having done, martial arts growing up, one starts to realize the value of having an amazing, you know, body that's amazing and works amazingly well through movement and flow. And but to be honest, the military is where I completely fell in love with human movement and the ability that we have that we don't even believe or know we have. And I know you've lived that, and I believe anyone who's come through any kind of training, such as military or police, or where you've been pushed to what would be called the limits and past. And when you're on the other side of that limit and you mentally uh, at a point that you're breaking, and physically, well, when you're physically definitely, but mentally, you just keep pounding through it, and you realize there is no limit. The limit lives in your
Mm,
head, and I know it's sort of
mm,
like a cliche to say that, but that's where I really said, fuck, this is incredible. I want to study more. I want to know more about how this machine works, and take it to different levels, and then became a scholar of deep study of human movements, and how to tap into that and how to help people tap into that who don't have the privilege of serving, or because, you'll talk to people and everyone's fascinated by military. I don't care what anyone says. Um, there is a certain respect for people who have been through it that people who haven't have. I can say that because I know it, and they're fascinated by it. So when I started the first boot camp in Atlanta, it was the first military style outdoor training program in '94, I believe it was. Um, People flocked because I was in drill sergeant kit. I had the whole thing I made so hyper realistic, and the
yeah.
whistle and the screaming, and I hired all military guys to help me as it grew, and people loved it. They loved
Yeah.
the in the mud. I'm talking about, high net worth people that were at the personal training gym would come down into the park at 5 in the morning in the rain, in the mud, and they had the animal inside came out. That same thing you tapped into when you were like survival mode, even though this was like a really executive type thing, but it was still raw boot camp. They also had that spark, and I believe that is, that for me that was it. It was like there is no limit, and then it was just I'm going all in, and like and when you say lean in, it wasn't just lean. I fell head first, and still do. I still learn every day, and I'm watching your stuff all the time. And I think it's brilliant what you're doing. I think your elite program you've put together is fucking amazing. I think anyone who can should do it, because you're an amazing guide, amazing leader. I think that the truth that you live in and your passion is contagious. And I think that people who do invest in you and themselves will definitely reap the benefits. And this isn't advertising thing I'm saying, it's from the heart. It's like when I didn't know what it was, and I clicked on your links out and I thought, what is he doing? Let me check it out. And I saw it's like a year, and it's like, you get one time, and when you, I mean, you helped me. I mean, 4 decades of training, but everyone needs someone. And when I
Yeah.
came to you and I said, listen, I want to get ultra shredded, bro. Help me. Like, I need that. And you took my hand, and literally it was like every day I sent my macros, and I was like see-through, it was brilliant. So
Yeah. There's
yeah, I mean, it's just
3% body fat, right?
yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was like, I've still got those photos on my Instagram. People still send me stuff like, how did you do this? And what do I do? And, obviously, um, but yeah, so I think, your marine training, and I think, I do believe that was a privilege and a gift to ourselves to do the service,
Yep.
because
Yep.
that was my springboard into life. It
Yep.
transcended from, at the time, some questionable moments like, why am I doing this, into like, Now I look back and I say, I know why I did that. That
Yep.
was my fundamental beginnings. I did study, of course, like a sports administration, and I did all the work, but it's like you can't teach experience, and I think that it was definitely pivotal in shaping me into the person I became. Because then, like you said, the NFL guys and these young superhero athletes that were, genetically and physically just specimens that are in the 0.001% of humankind. Um, you know, but even they had more, and I could find it, and
Yeah.
I could dig in, and I could help them find it. And having come from South Africa in a rugby world, I didn't know much about football. I loved it. I thought it was cool, but I had to study positions of these guys and what their body demands were, so that I could
Mm.
work with them, that I could tap into, what's going to make this person more efficient. And I saw, like, with Jamal Lewis, the running back, and the lateral movements, and these guys were so hyper focused on Olympic lifting and strength training. And I literally had him lying on the floor with like resistance bands before booty work was a thing, for all the girls with
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
resistance band. He would lie there with a little green band on his ankles doing side lateral lifts and screaming. And I'm like, this guy like can, you know, squat a car, and it's like,
Right, 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 right,
but
right.
then, but that's going to help with your agility and your cutting movements and your speed. And so that was for me. Like I said, I became a scholar of human movement, and but it roots are in the military for sure.
That's cool. God, yeah, it's so funny now you hear about plyometrics and anything with banded mobility work like that. I mean, Tom Brady is like the poster child of
Yeah.
what that
Hmm.
became as the resurgence. Everybody was kind of aware of it, but not so much practicing it because it was still more like you said, brute force strength, working on,
Right.
you know, compound movements, Olympic
Right.
lifting, power, right?
Yeah.
Everything was about power, power,
Right.
power.
Right.
And then
Right.
Brady saw this kind of way to extend his career in the league lifespan, if you will, as a player
Right.
by incorporating all of the agility work that he
Right.
did and lessening the amount of resistance that he was putting himself under and lessening the time under tension and like just basically again extending the shelf life. But it's funny to hear you talk about that with Jamal Lewis. Yeah, I can definitely
Well,
imagine him, big guy,
yeah.
like squirming on the
Yeah.
floor doing
Yeah.
that.
Like that's, and then all the guys, the linebackers, they had all these guys with like a body bar that was 20 pounds doing a side leg lift on the floor and like
Oof.
grimacing in pain. And these are like 300-pound dudes. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, actually, it was cool. I saw Brady ran a better 40 now than he did when he was young. Did
At
you see that?
46 years old, at
Yeah,
46
yeah.
years old, I
He
did.
actually ran a better 40. It's cool. I'm, again, keeping up with all this stuff, but it's,
Yeah.
yeah, listen, I think that when you're smart, success is sustainability. And a lot of people think that it's all about today, especially in Gen Z, and it started with millennial type mindset. It's like, how can I have everything now? Instant
Yep.
gratification. And my payoff line to everybody now is like, working out is the biggest lesson in delayed gratification you'll ever have. So think
Oof.
about that for
Yeah.
a second. The biggest lesson in delayed gratification, you put in the hardest work you're going to do, and you see the fewest results over a period of time, and people want that pull, they want that, like, what can I do to get like that? How do I do that? But I don't want to put in like all the work. I just want to look like that, and that's unfortunately the mindset today, because everything is so easily available,
Exactly.
accept,
Exactly.
accept that. Yeah.
Man, you definitely been watching my stuff, and we're definitely still related, and we're definitely still connected because I've gone on tirades talking about how grateful I am that this is the only place in the world that cannot be bought, that
Right.
cannot be obtained other than the method of which it requires to get it, the work,
Right. Of
time,
course.
effort, challenge, the
It's
suffering, the enduring of pain and just consistency, et cetera. That process,
sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice,
sacrifice,
Yeah,
commitment, like to where
yeah.
you can be George Soros or any other trillionaire that's on the in the
Hmm.
world with their yacht and
Can't
has a
have it.
million
Can't buy it.
pieces of material things, can't buy
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm
So,
grateful to that fact that it still says, nope, doesn't matter how much you got. Like,
yeah,
I can't remember the phrase or the quote by Arnold, but talking about how, sculpting the body is still going to be one of those things. It's always going to require what you want to put into it as opposed to just something that you can pay and have it obtained for you. But 100%, I agree about how can we blame the modern mind be it the millennial, the Gen Z thinker, into thinking, why can't they have it like everything else? And I say that in a
Right.
sense of, career paths, employment, education. Why should I have to go to school? I can get knowledge like this in the palm of my hand. Why should I have to work? I can obtain money like this from trading, things online and
Mm-hmm.
other methods of where everything and anything can be obtained so fast. Why should hard work or anything else typically conventionally requiring a process be any different? So as much as I want to say, the world has changed, kids are changed, we're changing, we're getting older, blah, blah, blah. Yes, of course, that is true. But at the same time, how can we expect them to think any differently given the circumstances that they were born into? I mean, we grew
Right.
into it, right? Like we
Yeah.
had rotary phones, we had the
Right.
advent of the internet and the dial up and, Netscape and
Yeah.
America
Yeah. Yeah.
Online. And by the way, anybody that still has an at AOL.com email
Right.
address, if I see that, I'm like, God, who are you?
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know?
Where are you living? What
Yeah.
generation? But it's true. It's become just fast. How quick? It's like Amazon Express. If I order it now, it should be at my door in 2 hours. If we
Yeah.
ordered something and it was there in 3 days, we were happy, or 4 days. Now it's the
Yeah.
same day. And now
Yeah.
groceries. So you can, unfortunately, I saw another statistic that obesity is more of a problem than hunger globally now. That's
True.
something, that's
True.
something pretty sad. Obesity is
Yep.
more of a global problem than hunger. So think about that. So people now are so much the dormant lifestyle. It's like I'm sitting here, I wake up, it's on the phone. I order my groceries on the phone. I order my food on the phone. I'm on my computer at the desk. I don't move. I don't do anything. Everything comes to me. Everything's
Yep.
at my fingertips. So, like the hunter forager life that we were actually meant to live, because that's how we were created. Like I saw your thing on the other day about eating. How do you know you're meant to eat meat as a human? I mean, what are these for? It's like,
Yeah.
you'd go out, you'd hunt a meal, you'd gorge yourself on that meat, and then for 10 days you could continue because you're feeding on those fats, and you
Yep.
can still continue to function and protect your family and live that life. So we weren't created to be people or to be animals that just sat. And unfortunately, everything's the quick fix, the easy way. So let me create this food and enough of it for everyone, so it's not even real, it's genetically modified, and there's stuff in that shit you're putting in your mouth that your body can't even identify. When you
Yep.
ingest it, it doesn't know what to do with it. So we talk about free radicals in the blood, inflammation, disease, prevalence of heart conditions, diabetes, and I mean I can go on and on. I know you. So for me, it's just like, like you have to work for this shit, and then we've got the other side of the coin where, but hang on, there's drugs for that. I can eat what I want and take Ozempic, and I'm just going to get lean as fuck.
There it is.
But
There it
that's
is.
that. But that's great. Do that, but you'll only live a short life. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's
Yep.
Ozempic's fault, but you're not doing the work. You're not getting your cardiopulmonary health. You're not
Yep.
functioning correctly. Your muscle. You're not firing muscles. You're not. You're not causing hypertrophy. You're not getting all the things that are going to make you better. I actually, just talking about that, then the pills and the antidepressants and all the other shit. I saw a great article a few weeks ago that said they've discovered a protein that is only released into your blood through muscle contraction. I don't know if you've seen that,
Mm.
but I saw this. It's been discovered that's a natural antidepressant, this protein, and it's the only through contraction in the muscle. And I've never seen that before. It was a very interesting article. So telling us that through contraction we can actually help our mind because our body knows what to do. And that's,
Mm.
for me, it was like, wow, that's really interesting. I'd never seen or heard that before, but I took that because I've often said to people in a joke, if I didn't work out, excuse me, my legs are going. Let me let him out the room. That's Finn, by the way.
What's up,
You got to see
Finn?
the dude.
Oh
Finn's
my God. Haven't
still
seen
going
you in a
off.
long time, Finn.
Go on, Finn, go find me. Don't make a noise. Um, but Robin must have just got home. What was I saying? Oh, the
about how the
protein. Yeah.
body's
So,
able to,
so I
yeah.
said, yeah. I used to always say to people in a joke, if I didn't work out, I'd be on all the ADHD antidepressant things in the world. But the truth is, there it is, scientific proof now that there is this protein that's released through contraction of muscle that's a natural antidepressant. So, um, yeah, listen, it's, well, you and I can talk for hours about that too, the training and the mental state, and it's probably saved both our lives along the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I want to say I read something similar to that, or someone sent me the article possibly because I remember it was from a very polarizing guy, and I was like, oh, it didn't take polarization to have to tell me that. Like, I kind of assumed that would
Mm.
be the case, true.
Right.
But similarly to the foods that we eat, like some people say it's Pythagoras. I think it might have been, or rather Hippocrates, but I think it was even before or maybe later dated. But about let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food.
Mhm.
Thinking that the diets that I advocate for, that you advocate for, I do not believe it is the diet that is doing all the greatness in the body. I believe it is the body itself that is doing all that greatness. That the diets are just really a facilitator to allow the body to do what it's naturally born to do, to self regulate, to self heal, to not be depressed, to not be sick, scared, and stupid, to not be morose and mopey and just at this deficited state of self and being that we have all grown to living into, to where we're accustomed to waking up with sniffles and runny noses and coughs and sore throats and fatigue and oh, I'm not a morning person, I got to get started this way, and then having to upstart ourselves with caffeine and then having to endure through the day with multiple cups of that in order to sustain the energy that we've lost, and having these peaks and valleys of performance and anxiety, depression and energy, feeling good or otherwise. Our relationships are okay, the here and there. We don't even see our kids anymore because we pay someone else to basically raise our children for us because
Mhm.
they're away from the house for the majority of the day. We see them when we drop them off. We see them when we pick them up. We tuck them in at night. That's pretty much it. And then we repeat the cycle over again as we come down with a depressant, a liquefied depressant,
Mhm.
because I need to take a load off. Da 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 da. We
Mhm.
poison ourselves with the food that we eat. We poison our children with the same food. Then we wonder and don't understand why we are sick, they are sick. We put these medicines into them that we don't really know what they are, but we've been conditioned to think they're helpful for us.
Right.
And then we just repeat that over.
That's exactly what I preach. Like, consult with a senior legal person yesterday who's given up drinking for a year, which I thought was a great stepping stone.
Oh yeah.
Said so. You're in a high stress, you deal in family law, so they deal in brutal high end divorces. So knowing that that you live a stressful life and having that crutch, I can get home and I can drink this glass of wine or this scotch.
Yep.
Or I said, the funny thing is, you alcohol makes you feel that way because it's toxic. Alcohol is poisonous. That is why you get a buzz. You're actually in a state of poison. Your body's
Yep.
poisoned. Your liver's trying to detox. You start to feel, when you have that one too many, you start to feel sick because the poison's starting to take control, just like any other poison. And you get to a point that your body actually starts to purge because you're at a point that you carry on like this, you're going to die. So
Yep.
there's this is not like, oh, I'm drinking to take a load off. You actually, all that's going to happen is tomorrow the same stress is going to be there and you're just going to have a hangover at the same time because your body's trying to fix itself. So the problem's not
Yep.
gone. And
Right.
it's all false. Like you talk about caffeine, it's a fake buzz.
Yep.
They've proven that the energy or the lift you get from coffee is not even a proper lift, or the pre-workout stuff these guys take. It's false energy. It's not real energy. Like a ketone crosses the blood-brain barrier, neurally helps you. It actually does cause, neural pathways and cognitive responses that do stimulate you and wake you up in a way that it's clarity. It's not a buzz. You feel clear. You
Yep.
feel, it's a military word. You feel dialed in. And that's
Yep.
the thing with like these exogenous ketones. And I can only speak from experience because I've been using this Tecton Life. And I was skeptical in the beginning, just like we are with everything. We launched C4 and those brands in New York. And, Yeah, it
Yep.
was great.
Yep.
It was like all about that buzz, and we'd have five. You'd be like, you'd be, you know, stuck to the
Yeah.
ceiling. I know you've
Yeah. Yeah.
spoken
Yeah.
about stuff in
Drinking the blue
your past.
raspberries.
Yeah, I mean, and think
Yeah.
about what's in there. So for me, I took this stuff. I was like, okay, so the can has 10 grams of exogenous body identical ketones. And I drank half a can one morning at like 6. I went to work out in a fasted state still.
Mm.
The beauty of this is you can stay in a fast because it's 50 calories. It's below 50, so you don't break a fast, but you're getting the ketones. And I got on the assault bike. I started going, and normally 15 minutes, you're feeling pretty whacked on an assault bike, and I
Sure.
just
Sure.
cranked out 35 minutes like it wasn't even there. And then I drank the rest of it. So now I've got 10 grams in my body. And I taught a switch class, and my mental clarity, my delivery was brilliant. I've never felt more dialed in. And I was like, fuck, this shit's the stuff. And then
Yeah.
I obviously joined in. Uh, but what I'm trying to say is it does cross blood-brain barrier. It does cause that cognitive clarity. It does. There's so much about it. And I'm not here to pitch it. I'm just talking about ketone lifestyle in general,
Yep.
living on, functioning on fats rather than
Yep.
glycogen and glucose
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
energy and a sustained energy. And that goes back to hunter gatherers. When we were, in our primal states, we would eat that animal and we'd be able to function because there's that stored body fat you always have. You're not
Yep.
relying on the glucose in the glycogen in your system in order to have, that energy transfer into the cells. So you've always got that fat working all the time. When I say you've always got those ketones flowing, and then the ketones help your body to feel satiated and full by switching off the ghrelin, which is the hormone that makes you feel hungry. Puts
Oh yeah.
leptins in the blood, which makes you feel full and
Yep.
satiated. And that's why with a lot of the primal stuff, the right way to do it is that one monstrous meal where you take in, your 10 eggs, 15 eggs, steak, your raw butter. You eat that,
Yep.
and you actually should be solid. You shouldn't have one bit of hunger that day, and you should
Yep.
feel fucking rock star all day. And
Yep.
guys say to me in the gym, "But hang on, I lift weights. I need glycogen. I'm not going to get a pump. I'm like, dude, you're so far off base. You're so far.
Yep.
What builds? Does glycogen build muscle? Do you need glucose? Do you need carbs to build muscle? The guy's like, no, I think it keeps my muscle full. Yeah, it puts water in your body because of inflammation and swelling from the sugar and the insulin response. But necessary, it's amino acid breakdown profiles that help body repair and help lean mass recover. That's what it is. And where do you get that from? Yeah, protein. Good, well answered. Like there's your answer. So
Not the
it's
glycogen.
to it's not the glycogen, bro. It's not. So your body is such a brilliant machine. And back to the alcohol, people binge. We do coke and go fucking off the wall and almost
Yep.
probably closer to death than we want to know we are. And
Yep.
you're going to
Oh yeah.
pass out, and the next day you wake up and your body's fixed itself.
Yeah.
It's so to your point, it's not the food, it's the body that takes in the nutrients and knows what to do with them. So for
Yep.
what you said is absolutely on point. 1,000,000% agree with you. It's we actually then we have to get these exogenous nutrients in our body because we can't produce them naturally. But then once
Yep.
they're in our body, our body figures out what to do with them, and it's got, like I said, that natural protein that's in an antidepressant, along with everything else, and because we've tainted the food so much and we're still alive and most people get up and function is a testament to how brilliant the body is. Because it's like
Totally.
it's like having a Ferrari in the garage without wheels on it. It's like, it's not going to go. Or a Ferrari, you put the wrong gas in it, it'll go, but not like a fucking exotic sports car. And then you
Yeah.
put that jet fuel in there that's pure, that thing's going to
Yep.
crush. And that's the same with us. And that's the sad thing is people would rather concentrate on outside things having the right, is my dog eating the right food? I don't know if I should give my dog this, but then they'll go and eat Oreos and fucking garbage and not think twice about the pollution they're
Yep.
causing in their system. Anyway, I
Yeah.
won't rant for too long, but that's, you know, uh, we definitely think alike.
Yeah, man.
And I don't
Yeah,
think
man.
it's just, I don't, and this is two people who live for human movement and the human body and what it's capable of and have pushed, and you still do. I saw you just crushed a triathlon, and I mean, it's like, I'm 55 in 2 weeks' time, so for me, it's
Yeah,
like
buddy.
everything's had to be modified because success is sustainability. It's
Yep.
about how can I continue to do this well into my 80s, and how can I do it in a way that I'm not, we both went through stuff that helped us strip our egos along the way on journeys and that, and you learn, like in the gym, it's like, it's not about the lifting, it's not about the flexing, it's about how amazing you feel, and then how you look is
Yep.
actually a side effect. And that's what I tell
Yep.
people now. It's like,
Yep.
don't work out to look good. Looking good is a side effect of how you're going to feel from working out.
Yep.
That's the truth, and unfortunately with Instagram and all those Gen Zs, and I have Gen Zs in my house, I've made some, you so it's no disrespect, it's just like you said, it's the
Yeah. Yeah.
conditioning they have.
Yep.
They're in the gym I mean, most guys don't even train anymore. They're so busy taking selfies and videos and influencing. I mean,
Yep.
don't let me get started. Like, a 24-year-old kid can't have enough knowledge. Like I said earlier, experience can't be taught. And,
Right.
it's great. At 24, you should have a six pack. If you don't have a six pack at 24 and you think you're an influencer, you're fucking in the wrong business. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, go to gym to work out to feel great, and then when you look great, that's the side effect, and that's the
Yes.
that's the lesson.
Yes. I remember when I first started training people at your place. I remember saying, I'm not going to take the conventional model of, hey, anyone off the street that just wants to come up to me and say, Jake, how do I get a butt? How do I get abs? How do I build arms? No. How do I feel better? How do I
Right.
get stronger? How do I become healthier? And to your point, when you do those three things, the byproduct is looking better. It's inevitable. You
Right.
have stood on those stages, as I have, and looked amazing, but been fucking miserable. Whether we're torn apart mentally, emotionally, or otherwise, like, we know exactly what it takes to look amazing, at the same time harbor the secret or secrets
Yeah.
that we feel like shit inside, or that we're miserable people. You know what I mean? And it's like, whereas now, like you touched on, it's a byproduct. It's the best byproduct. It's the greatest
Right. It's the
direct
best
slash
side
indirect
effect on
benefit,
earth.
yeah, that you could get. It's like when you prioritize feeling better, moving better, being happier, feeling healthier, being stronger, it is inevitable that you will look better. Whereas the inverse is definitely not true. And I remember telling you that
Correct.
about kind of one of the first shows that I ever competed in physique. I remember standing backstage with some guys, and they're all talking in line, like, man, I can't wait. And we're literally like pumping up about to go on stage.
Right.
These guys are like, man, I can't wait to get out of here and go get blasted, drinking and
Yeah, yeah.
doing
I mean,
powder.
come on.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like, I didn't say anything, but I'm just listening to this. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're like, all right, let's go. 311, 312, 313. Like, come on out.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there like, this is a joke, man. Like,
Yeah.
none of
This
this
is a
has to do with
health
actually being,
wellness.
yeah, but nobody here is actually
Right.
embodying that. Like, sure,
No.
you're on the
No.
magazine cover, you're
Right.
supported and endorsed
Poster
by these
child.
brands,
Right.
you're poster children, totally, men and women alike. Yet we're just tapping our foot to go be able to drink, snort, or just binge on food, which you and I definitely have experience in. But it was all, a lot of it was a facade to me. There was not a lot of genuineness as far as in people really believe in this, living it, as opposed to just
Right.
putting it on. And kind of what you're talking about with, people care more about what they feed their dogs than what they would themselves. Yeah, they're taking a more concern about, I don't want my animal eating that, but yet I'm going to go smoke,
Just
inhale, drink,
right.
ingest, and otherwise like be exposed to all these other poisons without batting an eye to it. And then I don't understand why I feel the way I do.
It's yeah. I mean, when you look at what's meant to be the epitome of health and wellness on a bodybuilding fitness stage, you're never closer to death truly than when you're standing on that stage. Professionals, for sure, and I say that because you've literally stripped your body of the water, the fluid that's necessary to live. Your kidneys are probably almost at failure because there's
Yeah.
not enough fluid. It's like having a pool filter without water flowing through it, it's going to burn out. And the
Yeah.
truth is, they stand up there and they're like, my God, this guy's like, so he looks incredible. But inside, I mean, how many bodybuilders have died? And I'm not just bashing them because I live that lifestyle. I love the training, So for me,
Yes, of
again,
course.
it goes back to like, I go to the gym because I love how it makes me feel. I go to the gym because I know that I'm going to have the ability. Like when people come and say, you're 55, I can't believe, look how you look. It's not why I do it, but I look like this because of the lifestyle I live. It's the
Yep.
choices I made. I haven't sipped alcohol in 14 years,
Oof.
not even thought about it. And I go out, and even my wife, they casually drink. She drinks wine or tequila once a month or whenever there's a party or whatever. And everyone's like, yeah, have a shot, bro. Come on, just have one tequila. Like, I look at them and I'm like, why would my having a tequila make your night better? Just think
Yeah.
about that, because it's because they, and I know this because I've watched it for years, want to feel better for
Yeah.
themselves because
Totally.
everybody's doing it. And how come
Totally.
he's strong enough to say no? How come he can
Totally.
say no? And it doesn't make sense. I can't say no because I won't
Yep.
have a good time. So I don't know how this guy does it. I was offered thousands of dollars in Atlanta at the time by clients to have a plate of French fries. Eat the fries, we'll give you $1,000. In retrospect, now I'd probably do it, but um, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't out of principle. Like,
Yep.
it just wasn't part of who I was. It's
Yep.
um, so for me, it's like, yeah, I completely, um, I completely see why people want everyone else to go down that road, because they admire and they want to also be that person. And it's
Yep.
easier to convince someone to do what they're doing than to do what they're doing, because it's the path of least resistance. So, yeah, I think for sustainability, for longevity, doing it for the right reasons. I don't
Yeah.
like. I get people. I'm getting married. I really want to look good on my wedding. I'm like, but how do
Right.
you want to feel on your wedding? How do you want to
Right.
feel?
Right.
Let's change the narrative. You know,
And then
don't
just
you
to
want to
look good and just
feel
blow it
good?
out
Yeah,
with getting
yeah, and
bashed
that's
and
what they do.
blasted. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. So we're going to sacrifice for 3 months. And brides, by the way, are the best clients to have because they will get you your results. They have a
Sure.
deep goal and they are
Oh
motivated.
yeah. Oh yeah. I am
But
fitting in this size
yeah,
blank.
yeah. Oh,
Come
I'm
hell or
gonna
high
look this
water.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I've got two different outfits. I've got the wedding dress, and then I'm changing into
Yep.
this little,
Yep.
and it's like a whole story. And I love it because they're
And I'm getting
motivated,
a
and you're
high
gonna get
slit. I took the
results.
sleeves off. I'm going to show
Yes,
my arms. I want to
exactly.
show a little bit of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
side leg. Yep.
I want, and the best is when I just want you to try and get the side over here. I need to lose the side. So what can I do for that? I'm like, diet. Diet is
Yeah.
everything when it comes to that. So there's no spot reduction, but
Yeah, I was
yeah,
about
it's
to say.
just I just want to change that narrative. I want people to want to feel better than they look. That's what I
Yep.
want the narrative to be. I'd love a t-shirt, feel better than you look. And that's
Ooh.
honestly the truth. That's a
Ooh.
pretty cool shirt, right? Write that
I'm,
down.
I'm,
We're gonna sell
I
some
might, I
shirts.
might steal it. I'm
That's
kind of
okay.
in the shirt
I
game
like the
lately,
milk. I
So
see that. I say
yeah,
I'm with you, bro. If we can collab on that, feel better than you look
you
is a
got
great
it. You got it. You got it.
um, that's the truth.
Deal.
It's like, why, you know, unfortunately, yeah, it's all about image and look but I think once you get to a certain maturity level and understanding, you'll realize that it actually is the truth. It's,
Yep.
we're all going to get older. We're all going to change. It's going to happen. There's nothing we can do. But someone said to me, so why do you train? I said, just to slow the rot. I thought that was quite a thing.
To
I'm
die
slowing.
slower. To
I'm
die slower.
Yeah. I'm slow. I'm slowing the
Yeah.
rot. So for me, it's like
I'm dying slower.
in jest. Yeah. It's better attributed to living in an ecosystem that's sustainable. That's about doing things for the right reasons. Um, I mean, we all have adversity. We all have failures and setbacks, but I look
Yeah.
at them as lessons in education.
Yep.
Often it's spoken about. You 5 years you struggled in New York. You built a brand that was amazing. February of 2020, you've got the signed deal with ClassPass. So we're going to do this, and then you're going to open 8 more stores, and it's a signed deal. It's on the desk, and 3 weeks later, shut, gone. And for me,
Right.
it was a great lesson. I loved the journey. I had the greatest time. It was stressful
Yep.
and it was difficult, and it was frustrating, but looking back now, I always say everything if you're going to fall, you're going to fall, you might as well fall forwards. You always fall forwards. You don't fall backwards. And the lessons I took from that in multiple ways, there should have been way more appreciation at the time. Like I'd say to you on a Monday night before the class, fuck, dude, there's only 78 people in the class. Usually there's 100. What the fuck? And then I now look back and say, dude, 78 people, 80 people used to walk upstairs on 6th Avenue and there was a line down the street coming to your class. That
Yeah.
was gratitude. Where was the gratitude
Yeah.
then?
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
looking for more. And that was
Yeah.
my lesson. I don't look for more now. I'm grateful for, the belief of two people who trust in me or two people who want to share my energy. 78,
Yep.
82, 84, 96. It was those
Yep.
classes where, they'll never be duplicated. They were the greatest time ever. Think about like those
Yeah.
Monday
Yeah.
nights where you couldn't breathe and move, and
Amazing. Amazing.
it was ridiculous. And so the lessons were huge. And I look at everything. That's something I preach to younger people now and entrepreneurs. And it's about without failure, you don't grow. You cannot,
Yep.
because it's just, again, how do you deal with adversity? Because it's going to happen in everything in life. There's going to be challenge because that's our mission. In our journey, we're going to be challenged. It's what you do with the challenge that will define you as a human being, So you can
Yep.
lie down and be a victim. Oh God, I can't believe COVID. I lost my business. Or I can be, wow, that was incredible. Let's see what we've done. Now let's see what we can do going forward. So how can I take all
Yep.
those learnings and go forward? So, and it's the same with body. You may have fucked up, and I tell people who are addicts or alcoholics who've fallen off, uh, take that as your lesson. Now, just remember that feeling now that you have of failure, and
Yep.
make that massive in your head. Take that
Yep.
and use that as your motivation next time you have a weakness. Next time there's that thought of, let me just for today, tomorrow will be cool. I just need to get through today. Think about how you feel right now in this moment of
Yep.
failure. Make that everything and put it in a capsule and keep it in your brain for next time you have that weakness. And that's, never mind 12 steps. That's what will guide you. It's like the same as people. How do you not eat this? And how do you, it's all about, I always think about afterwards. And that's what people say.
Finishing
What
the
do you mean by
story.
that?
Finishing the
I
story.
feel I feel like what's going to happen afterwards. So if I go to the restaurant and the hot bread comes out, and I'm starving, and everyone's eating the bread and butter, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, I should be having it too. It's so good." But then I think about afterwards.
Yep.
I'll walk out the restaurant feeling amazing because I had my big steak and my fucking whatever else butter on top, and I walk out
Mm.
feeling amazing, and they're going to walk out feeling like shit. How do I
Yep.
not drink at a party? I think about afterwards. I think like tomorrow is
Yep.
going to be a fucking shit day. But I'm going to wake
Yep.
up tomorrow at 6 and I'm going to be firing on all cylinders and I'm going to be awesome. So I think about afterwards, and that's honestly, that's where that's when I say about learnings, taking things and making them your teacher, and that's like, just with anything. And, yeah, it's so, we spoke about sacrifice, and I think that sometimes it's not even sacrifice, it's just knowledge. It's like, I
Yep.
know what's going to be better. So yeah, I mean, it's been non-stop learnings, and and I love them all, but again, that like gratitude was a big thing for me with COVID. It was a big learning, it's like for so many different things.
Yep. I mean, like, and I call that finishing the story. I don't know what you're touching on
Mm,
about. How's it going to make me feel later? What am I going to feel like tomorrow? Or the next day or a week from
right,
now? Like,
right,
finish the story. If blank, then blank. If
right.
I do or don't do
Yeah,
X, then what is the
action
result of
reaction,
Y?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, 10 seconds on the lips, 10 years on the hips kind of
Mm,
thing, in the sense
mm,
that it's going to be a momentary bit of pleasure in the mouth, the
mm.
sensation, the feel. Maybe it's
Yeah,
trying to tap back into a memory of childhood or reconnect with
mm,
something from the past. And like for me, it was those blueberry banana pancakes. Like trying to
yeah,
remember and think about my father and childhood and this and that. And
right.
it was never going to give you that, me. It was
No,
never going to satisfy that craving or that feeling
no.
of disconnect. It was never going to be that. But in those moments, you're chasing that. And it's the same thing, whether it's with
Mm,
drugs, like the first,
yeah.
there's
First line
nothing, there's
code,
nothing like the
right?
first line. There's nothing
No,
like the
and
first line.
that's why
The
we
rest of
chase it
them
for the
are
rest of the night,
the
right?
rest of them are chasing them. Yeah, and they just get
Never
worse and
coming
worse
back.
and worse.
Yeah,
Never comes
exactly.
back.
Yeah, you
And
just go
whether
downhill
it's for
fast.
food or
Exactly.
these simple stimulants and simple pleasures are never what we really want them to be, as opposed to these truly wholesome, nourishing sources of real, of actual substantive benefit, like a meditation, like self-reflection, like introspective work, like real healthy food, like consciously sought suffering for the intention of personal growth. That is
Cold
never
plunges,
comes
deep
with remorse.
breath work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
Yes,
mean,
like
yeah,
hormetic stress, contrast therapy,
yeah,
none of that ever comes with remorse or regret. Whereas,
right.
like you said, simple as it might be, if you dip into that bread basket, yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
taste great, no doubt about it. It'll smell good. It'll taste great. You will, oh, this was awesome. But, you're not going to feel happy afterwards. You're
no.
going to regret having done it. You're going to have remorse about it. Well, some people could say, well, Jake, come
Many,
on, it's just a bread basket. Da, 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 da. Like, don't get so freaked out about it. Remove the word bread basket, remove the words bread basket, and insert whatever you want in the case where if I do not prioritize my principles, what I believe to be right and true, and I
mm,
go against them with whatever this item or action or environment,
mm,
circumstance might be, that's betrayal. That's
mm.
denial. That's denial of what you really want to do because you're feeling pressured or influenced or intimidated or coerced or just in a state of
That was one
weakness.
of the
Maybe it's a
lessons you actually taught me along the way, by the way, just saying, if you
oh
think
God.
about it, way
Well,
back. But that's
it's
the
a
truth.
two-way street. Way more
Yeah.
coming this way as far
Yeah.
as in
No,
lessons
no,
learned and
but
taught. So thank you. But
that was a big one. You taught me in a beautiful way, and we'll talk about that off camera. But it was a brilliant lesson, and it was an aha moment for me. Talking about living in your truth, and how many people have said to you, just back to that, like, I was eating cheesecake, and I felt so guilty while I was eating it, like I really didn't enjoy it. Then why are you eating it?
oh,
So think about that. It's like in your heart and soul that this is toxic. I'm putting this
yeah,
toxic shit in my body, but I can't help
yeah,
myself. I'm doing it.
yeah,
Or like the first line you spoke of, like they put it down, and in your heart you're saying, I definitely shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do
yeah,
this. And then you break and you do it, and then you feel like
yeah.
fucking like the $1 million man,
Right. Well, I might as well keep
for
going.
three
We've already
minutes
started.
for three
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh
Three
yeah.
minutes. That's the thing
Oh yeah.
with binge. Like we did it. Like, oh well, I've already
Oh
fucked up,
yeah.
so let me just keep going, and then tomorrow's another day,
Yeah.
or I'll do it on
Yeah.
Monday, or I'll do it.
Yeah.
New Year's is 3 months
Yeah.
away. I'm just gonna go fucking crazy. But now is the time, not then.
Yeah.
This is the commitment. Dive in. Let's do it. Let's
Yep.
change.
So
Let's turn it around.
I'm so glad you brought that up because people can hear us talk and maybe think like, oh, these guys are on their high horses. They've never had to deal with something like I have. Or
Oh
well,
fuck.
Steve and I were both vegetarians. Steve and I were both vegans. Steve and I were both plant-based athletes. Steve and I were both taking all kind of supplements and all the disgusting pre-workouts and powders and stuff that was
All of it.
on the border of FDA allowed and on the
Yeah.
border of not being PEDs, but it still wasn't
Yeah.
um, chemical nonsense. Anything we get our hands on to find the edge or what we thought to be different, unique, or otherwise. So trust us, like in there. And when it comes to binge eating disorders, for sure have
We
been
won
there.
the award.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we won a lot of awards for that. I can, talking about that's really coming from experience. Like both of us very much speaking from the heart in the sense that
Yeah.
the answer is not in that. The
No.
solace is not going to be in that. The comfort that you're hoping to provide you is not going to come in that plate. It's not going to be in that drink. It's not going to be in the line. It's not even going to be with that girl. It's
Right.
always going to be in here. If the
Yeah.
happiness is not real and genuine deep down
Right.
at your soul and in the fabric of your soul, rather, no amount of material things, success in business, romance, certainly food and decadent pleasures and experience, none of it is going to matter. Like Steve was talking about, Steve's class where I actually met him through Switch Playground in New York was the most popular, well-known group fitness class in New York City, which made it the most popular, well-known group fitness class essentially in the world at the time for several years running. It was so clicky and cool and trendy and just you had to be there. And Steve taught class once, sometimes twice, if people were lucky, a week. And it was always on Monday night, 6 p.m., 6th Avenue, Soho, big studio. It could hold about 100 people. Think about that, y'all. 100-person group fitness class indoors, no windows. So it's in a basement, basically, facility. We've got a live DJ, multiple stations where we would all be, for a period of roughly 2 minutes at each station. The exercises would change. You'd have to adhere to that exercise or two for 2 minutes, and then we would rotate or switch, as it was called, right? And Steve is just emceeing this whole thing. He's got a whistle. He's got a microphone. He's got multiple coaches and trainers. It's fucking chaos, man, but awesome chaos. Lots of energy, lots of personality, lots of ego, lots of pride. It was a club. It was the new version of a nightclub in the sense that all the who's who's were there. There was cool guys, cool girls, different cliques, different groups. Everybody was dressed to the nines. Again, this is fucking New York City. Soho. We were all decked out. Like nobody was in there not on point with how they looked
if
and how they acted.
Dropped you could see Lululemon that day, it was in the room.
Oh, it was there. The newest Nikes, the newest trainers. Yep. I mean, I remember seeing people working out Louboutins and Louis Vuitton even. Prada trainers, Givenchy tracksuits. Like the biggest labels in the world were there, and the personalities and the faces and bodies to go with them. So it was really a cool place to be. But nonetheless, like what Steve was saying, he would be looking at his phone before class sometimes and be like, look at this, dude, this is fucking bullshit. There's only like 75 people. Yeah. Think about that. Was so hungry, was so proud, was so demanding like the best or just the most that 75 people in a group fitness class that were all 75 diehards to be there, that were so excited, that wouldn't miss it for the world. But it was like, 75, but it's not 100. Was it their faults? Was it our faults? No, but it was something in here that wasn't being satisfied. Yeah. It's the same thing with the food. We weren't everything, right? Like it's not, the food wasn't going to give it to us. The 75 people wasn't giving. What was missing? What was happening? What was going
wants
on?
To be the billionaire.
The guy and it's like
wants a 300
absolutely.
Like,
so when Steve talks about, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's just fucking, when is enough? When is there that point of satisfaction? When is it? And I think that's one of our lessons. And until we individually learn that lesson, we're going to keep getting it. We're going to keep getting tested for that, as in everything in life, because that's, that was one of my lessons in our journeys, was like, you got to learn. And then once you've learned, you can move on. Until you learned, you're stuck in that same shit, So it's like, fucking, like I always had to be the guy. If I knew one of the celebs was in a class, I wanted to teach the class.
Sure.
Was it because of my ego? I wanted them to experience me. I wanted them to experience the class the way it should be. Yet I had very competent coaches because I'd nurtured them and I'm paying them and I believe in them. Now I'm so different. Now I want to watch my coach fly, and I want to go in the room and watch that celebrity, and I'm not with everyone else, but I want to see them loving and lapping up the method, because it was all about the method, and it was, but you said it was the energy, and the reason I feel like my classes were what they were is because the passion was so huge. The passion I had when I got in that room to teach, it was 1 billion% authentic self, and I wanted to deliver just like I'd imagine Pavarotti or any of the, whoever it is gets on the stage and they're going to give fucking everything, because that's their gift and that's their calling, So for me, that's why people said, what is different about you and everyone else? It's what you put out, and it's authentic, it's genuine, and it's, like you said, true to self. And it was, maybe I wanted more people to experience it. Maybe that was my 75 wasn't enough. But now
I say that all the time.
I
say that all the time with clients.
How many more people?
I'm like I want it because I'm selfish. I'm selfish. It's like I want you there because I'm selfish for your success. It's like I'm not selfish for my own greed. I'm just like I'm dying to see more from you. Like I selfishly want your greatness to come out.
Correct. I know I can help you, but I want you to let me help you. You know what I mean? You've got to let me help you, for fuck's sake. Let me help. And then I see like these people who are investing their money into coaches and personal trainers who you can see are just fucking textbook. They just, I watch a coach who's got 5 clients in a row and they all do the same workout. because
Yeah.
that's what he's planned for the day, and he's lazy and he doesn't want to think about the
Yeah.
individual. So how
Yeah.
can Jake do the same workout as a 57-year-old woman and so it's like these guys do the same movement pattern, same functional. It's like you're investing, and it hurts me because I know that I could take you and make you as good as you can be, because I'm genuinely going to look at you as a individual, break you down, look at your needs, look at your profile, look at what you. So I know that's how you are with your clients. It's like I want to know you as an
Yep.
individual, and I want to help you. I'm not giving a broadsheet. Everybody do the same shit.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
that's why
Right.
you have
Right.
a 1 hour check-in with me once a week, so we can talk
Yep.
about you. Otherwise, I'd have a group
Exactly.
chat and we all shoot the shit. It's not a sharing
Yep.
circle. This is time for
Yep.
you and me. And
Yep.
I think that comes with maturity. Again, a lot of guys will go out there you can't have 400 clients. You can't have 400 clients online and be successful. You can't. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are now. I don't give a fuck what influencer and coach you are. If you've got
Uh,
400 clients on your books, you're shit because you're not
there's no
authentic.
way. Yeah.
You're not.
There's
There's
no
no
way.
way. There's no way.
Right.
You can't be. Rather get an app, put out an app and let everyone just be on your app, and that's the truth.
Yep.
And on the app, they can choose what works for them. It's not like
Yep.
everyone, yeah, whatever. So for me, it's like, and I preach that all the time. Choose wisely. It's the best investment you'll ever make is yourself, for the right reasons. So make sure the practitioner that you choose is of the same caliber and has the same mindset as you do, going in. So again, I mean, obviously there's very skilled young people who've studied and they've learned, but it's like I don't believe that a guy who's just got out of school, who's a top surgeon in his class and gets out, can do the same job that a guy who's 50, who's been 40 years of 35 years of surgery, the same kind of
Yep.
surgery. He cannot perform the same way. He cannot
Yep.
perform the same way. There's a hiccup. This guy's had it 50 times. You haven't
Yep.
yet. And
Yep.
that's when I keep saying you can't teach experience. It's you got to live experience. So for me, it's like, why not come to someone like you or me who've literally done this for 4 decades, or for me, and let me not let you make those same mistakes along the way. And that's like
Yeah. Yeah.
in life coaching, in whatever it is. It's like in business, there's like someone said, so you went to New York, how did you do it? I can tell people how not to open a business in New York. That I can do, that I can really do. But yeah, listen, it's take the same application. I said this to someone yesterday, actually. I said, you can tell everything about a human being by the way they work out. You
Yeah.
can tell everything about someone. And trust me, from leadership to tenacity to grit to perseverance to strength to
Organization.
character to
Yep.
everything, I believe that would be the best interview you could ever give someone you want to put in a high pressure, high power job. Go to a workout with them and watch them. Watch what they do in that workout and how they handle what's thrown at them, because that will tell you everything about that person. Or maybe just spend a week with them in their lifestyle, because that too will tell
Yep.
you everything about them. But definitely, if you want a quick synopsis of a human being, watch them work out, and you'll see everything you need to see. And then
I
obviously we can
I
say
love
watch what
that.
they order in the restaurant.
I'll take it a step further too. As far as in the workout, you'll see who the real pros are by not just when they're working out, but in the off time during an exercise or during a workout, how they put things back, how they pick things up, how they reorder weights, how they lift, meaning like, okay, I'm not working out per se, but I'm going to pick the bar up, I'm going to move something. If you go pick it up all broken down,
Yeah,
terribly techniqued, improper form, and mobile action, that tells me more, as opposed to once you get the weights, you get together, you get in the mirror, everything looks great here, but then you go put everything
right.
back all slobbishly, I'm like, that's the real testament.
It's the functionality. It's like you training your body to be functional. Like if you're doing a
Yes.
reverse wood chopper, it's like I'm picking something up off the floor and stacking it on a shelf next to me. It's like that's that movement pattern. I'm teaching my
Yep.
body what it's got to do in the real world, or from a deadlift to, to whatever it is, a shoulder
Yep.
press, or this is what you use in the real world as a human being,
Yep.
and it should translate. So what you're saying makes perfect sense. It's not just about when the camera's on or when I'm in the mirror flexing and I'm doing an actual set. It's everything that
Which
goes
has its
around
time,
that.
which has its time
It
and purpose for
absolutely
sure.
does. Yeah.
Definitely
When
has
you've
its
done the
time.
work and that side effect looks good,
Yeah,
enjoy that, because you know what it's taken to
absolutely.
get there too.
Absolutely.
Not just the sacrifice, the commitment, the dedication, the cold mornings, the rainy days, the 5
Yep.
a.m. alarm. Like, anybody who tells me they push the snooze button's a loser that day to me. That's like an excuse to say I'm not fucking ready. I'm not ready to face this day. So I'm going to
Yep.
give myself more time to get ready. Fuck that shit, bro. There's no such thing as a snooze button for me.
Yep.
For me, I'm like, I'm so disciplined since my military. I'm up before the alarm, but that's me.
Yep.
That's me. But for other people, when that alarm goes off, that's your time. This is my day has begun. How am I going to take on this day? Am I going to snooze? Because then the rest of my day is going to be the same pattern. Or am I going to get up
Yep.
and I'm going to fucking take it on head first? Same as the same
Yep.
thing with transcending from the workout into your real world. It's just my belief. It's not a meathead, militant type of mind thought process. It makes perfect sense. Think about it. It's your biorhythm for the whole day. So,
Mm.
am I going to set the cadence or the pace? It's like your morning meditation or your mantra or whatever it is you put out there. It's one of the things my wife taught me was what you put out there, you get back. Say it loud. Say what you want.
Yep.
There is no such thing as a dream. It's a vision. It's like a dream stays a dream. A vision can be real. So
Mm.
manifestations. It's like when I lie in bed, my alarm goes off. I close my eyes for to take a few deep breaths, and I manifest what's going to happen today. And then I go
Yep.
get it. And that's the
Yep.
mindset everyone should have. Don't ever hit that snooze button, because you may as well just stay in bed the whole day, because you've basically, that's the biorhythm. That's what you've sent out into the world. It's like the day started, but I'm not ready.
Yep.
Personal opinion, of course, but I just feel that it makes sense.
I was just about to ask you, to give our listeners a one sheet of tips or, some type of risk coach, what they could use. And you really just did it. So I didn't even have to prompt you with the
There you
question,
go.
but so true about the snooze, because it's the first challenge of the day.
Mm-hmm.
The
Exactly.
first challenge, whether you think of it as a challenge or not, it's the first obstacle or the first opportunity, better word. It's the
Right.
first opportunity of the day for you not to say no. It's the first
Correct.
opportunity of the day for you not to give in. It's the first opportunity of the day for you to stand up. It's the first opportunity of the day for you to achieve, to win, to have a victory. Or
Right.
it's the immediate not of that. It's the
Right.
first opportunity to lose, to feel
Yeah.
bad, to have sorrow. I mean, it's such a simple thing. It seems small and insignificant, but it really does, like you said, set the pace, the cadence, the biorhythm. I love that, by the way, for
Yeah.
the day. And it's something as simple as getting up, just getting up and not saying no.
Yeah. Goes back to that thing I said earlier. It's like the challenges you have in life are going to be there. You can't avoid them. It's what you do with them. And like you
Yep.
said, when that alarm goes off, that's your first challenge. It's a beautiful thing because you've survived the night. You're here. How are you going to celebrate that? How am I going to
Yep.
celebrate being alive and having the opportunity to get up, stand up, and go and fucking make magic, change a life, affect somebody's day for the better, do what I do,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's never going to be touch that thing and give me 5 more minutes, because for me, I promise you, I truly believe that energy that you send is saying, it's not my day. I'm not ready.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
I'm I'm, I'm going to reset. So that's like, there was that Navy SEAL who spoke that whole thing, and he said, you make your bed. First thing you do, you make your bed.
Oh,
That'll make you successful.
McRaven, Admiral McRaven.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Now that was a powerful speech.
Yep.
For me, it starts before you make the bed. For me, I'll take
Oh
it
yeah.
back a little bit more to the alarm
Yeah.
going off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so I align with that 1,000,000%. And
Yeah.
but for me, it starts with that. So for those of you who like to push the snooze button, maybe you aren't where you want to be because that's the mistake you're making. Try and not do that and see what happens. You
Oof.
know,
Wow.
maybe that is what's holding you back from
Oh,
greatness. Maybe, you know, I
maybe.
truly, yeah, maybe. Let's
The
take that
rippling
fucking
effect it can
snooze off.
have is massive. Definitely.
Right.
It has
I
a
agree.
massive rippling effect,
Yeah,
100%. Because we've both
that's
done it.
been,
I've definitely
yep,
done it, and it's definitely it ruins days, it can ruin weeks, it can ruin months. You want to
yeah,
stay depressed?
that's,
Snooze.
hmm yeah. You snooze, you lose. Remember, that's that saying. So maybe it actually has some depth, you know. So for me, yeah, life begins at the snooze button. That's for me,
Awesome.
you know, because every decision you make from there is so important. So yeah, that's
Amazing.
maybe it's a good closer, right?
Yeah, man. Life begins at the snooze button. That's
Yeah.
it for sure, for sure. Well, Steve, what's the latest and greatest on you? Where can people find you, see you, get updates, schedule, book, etc.
Yeah, so basically my website, stevieuriah.com is very alive and active, speaks about the history. Um, and my Instagram, Steve Uriah, still, you know, my happy place. I don't post as much because I've sort of stepped back again from that, like, look at me,
Yeah,
look what I can do, look at my body. It's more about teaching now. So I keep that page alive because I still can communicate with people. I'm actually in a partnership with a corporate right now. I'm the chief health officer for a company, a fintech company, 170 people that I'm working with to keep as high power, high output professionals, which
outstanding,
is something
outstanding.
really cool, which is, it should be in every corporate. A chief, you know, the
Agreed.
C-suite stops short. How can everyone
Yep,
function at their best and produce at their best if they're not well rested, well fed,
totally, totally.
breathing properly, meditating, under stress, breaking stress? So I'm doing that now, which is kind of super cool. And
Yeah,
yeah, working with Tecton Life and with you know, with Mend Nutrition, which is the natural pharmaceutical company, also that was Upgrade originally. So it's not
yep,
called Mend. They do all
yeah, yeah.
plant-based, brilliant company. So I'm very much holistically and taking the wellness route as well as the fitness. And I just want humankind to be their best, and whatever it takes is where I've evolved to. So that's where you can
Beautiful.
find me. And but stevieuriah.com or Stevie Uriah on Instagram is probably the best place to find me.
Roger that. Well, I'll put all that in the meeting notes for everybody to see, or the episode notes for everybody to see, and links to Steve's websites, his programs, as well as his Instagram and all the contact information too. But man, Steve, thanks so much. It's so good to see you. And
Pleasure,
by the way,
brother. So
everybody,
good to see
Steve
you.
and I hadn't seen each other, actually seen each other in about 5 years until today. So
Yeah,
this is an extra
true.
special thing
We
just for he and I
we had a
both
phone call,
personally.
but
Yeah,
I
but it's been
wanted to
five
personally
years.
also, yeah, I want to thank you for the last message you sent me before we reached out again. That was what put me back into where I needed to be. So I know to some people you don't think about the impact you have in word or in method or something you do. Um, but what you can do for other human beings is so fucking powerful, and that's a huge takeaway. So we have a lot of power. We must be careful how we use it, but at the same time, we must realize how much we can actually help people see the light.
Mm,
So thank you for that, brother. It
mm.
means the world.
Oh, right
At
back
the
at you,
time, it
man.
was
I
like,
love you, man.
what the fuck? But truly, it was the best thing you ever did for me. So thank you, and I love you
Oh
too,
God,
and
I
been
love
a
you too, man.
privilege to be on this show, and I can't wait to actually see you in person and eat some raw
Yeah,
shit
man.
with you, man.
Dare I say it might happen? It might happen. So,
It's
well,
gonna
thanks
happen, bro.
everybody.
We know it
Thank you,
is.
Steve. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And thank you,
appreciate all
Steve,
your
and
time.
everybody else for another episode of Sick, Scared, and Stupid.